Do you know that if you acquire a landed property in Nigeria, you have exclusive right of ownership and possession? Do you want to know more? Come forward. Now, customary ownership of land can be acquired in two ways. One, by conquest. Just for instance, we know our home, different communities, we have where our forefathers have settled for years. Now, based on that, they have the ownership of that land. But in as much as that, based on the fact that government, by the virtue of this section 1 of the Land Use Act, has vested the power in the governor, it has divested the power of ownership of this family. But in way of proving of ownership in customary system, tenorial system, by way of first settlement, you have that right ownership. And also the section 42 of the Criminal Code Act, and also by section 350 of the Penal Code Act, it has been abolished in the system of practice in Nigeria. You cannot own a property again by conquest, or is by first settlement. And the only thing that you still pay homage to the state government through the way of getting the rights through the local government authorities, because even the local government authorities has vested by the power by that Land Use Act for customary lands, for lands in rural areas. Now, those are the things you need to know about ownership of rights in Nigeria. Now, taking you to the possessory rights. What do you understand by possessory rights, and what are the difference between possessory rights and this ownership rights? Possessory rights refers to the rights associated with physical possession of property. Now, when you have physical possession of property, you have that you can be able to say, yes, I have the possessory rights. I have an occupational right of this property. Now, in Nigeria property law, some does not necessarily equate ownership. You can never compare the two of them, because one is that you know that the owner can grant someone the right to possess, and when you do it, you become a possessor. And that possession has a limit to what you have. And possession is often categorized into two types: de jure possession and de facto possession. Now, having known that de facto possession is a possession that only includes physical control. When you have physical control or element or mental element that you are in charge, that's de jure possession. You have that, and you can say, oh, this person is the owner of this property. He has the exclusive possession. Now, the jure possession occurs when individual physically occupies and control a property. An individual in legal possession has the right to use the property as he or she wishes, and in the exclusion of others. So you need to understand that. Now, this is a possession that landlords has over a landed property, which is backed up with the reversionary interest. Because one, that when you have that, it's not there, but the reversionary interest will still come back to the person. Now, what is the next form of possession? De facto possession. De facto possession refers to the effective physical and manual control and occupation of land. It simply means possession in fact. So when you are in charge, just like a tenant is a de facto possession person. You have the right, you live inside that property. Even the landlord that owns that property cannot even come there without taking permission from you. You cannot enter that demised premises without your consent. Otherwise, it will be a breach of your rights as a tenant. Now, you must know that, for example, these are what is called constructive possession of property. Now, there is a popular case, a case of Ogunleye versus Abere, 2004, 14 Nigerian Weekly Law Reports. It highlights the principles of de facto possession and where the court recognizes the right of tenants in possession. And with that, tenant has the power of exclusive possession to enjoy the demised premises without the interference of the landlord. All these things are powers that you need to know about that. Now, having understood this, ownership and possession, now have we thought about what are the differences between the ownership and the possessory rights? Now, ownership and possessory rights are distinct in concept. They often intercept in property law. Some people, even lay people, always see them as the same thing, but they are not the same. They are different in nature, in the sense that one has absolute control while the other one has a limited control, and that's what empowers you. So you need to know their level. And now, I want to tell you that possession is 9/10 of the law. A possessor is someone who the law sees as the owner of the property, except if someone comes with a primary evidence to claim the same property and be able to prove that. And this by virtue of section 143 of the Evidence Act. Possession is near ownership, and as it is also held in the case of Iwala versus Chaman. What does this mean? It means that when someone is in possession, is deemed to be the owner of that thing. That's the eyes of the law. That's the way the law sees things. If you are driving a car, the law will see that you are the owner of that car. If you are living in a property, it's deemed that you are the owner of that property. Until someone from somewhere comes and proves ownership with evidence, and that's the only way. The person that owns the property and the person that possesses the property is just a very thin line that differentiates them. But it's only by way of proving ownership that he can stand to have a substantial claim over that person who is in possession. Now, in conclusion, understanding the concept of ownership and possessory rights in Nigerian property law is very essential in navigating the complexity of the land transactions and as well as property disputes. Most property disputes in Nigeria are coming as a result of possession and occupation. You see somebody being in possession of a property, after staying there for some period of time, you claim the ownership. But someone else can come from anywhere. Let me give you for instance now. You see some places, most especially in the urban part of Nigeria, they will sell land to Mr. A. Now that Mr. A, because he's not living in that property, they will notice that he did not do anything, no development. They will sell that same property again to Mr. B. Now Mr. B will end up maybe putting a structure, living in that place now. Now, if tomorrow now they come and say, what will be hearing? This property belongs to Mr. B. This property, let's go to Mr. B's property, not knowing that Mr. A has the property. But because the Mr. A is not in occupation, is not in possession of that property, so he's deemed. But when they start verifying the title, they may end up finding out that Mr. A is the rightful owner of that property, even though he's not in possession. And thereby, you will set aside whomever that has been on occupation of that property. So you need to understand that ownership can arise from statutory provisions or customary practice. It can come in any way of this. While possessory rights can provide an essential protections for individuals for physical possession of property only for you to be in possession. Now, these two things interplay between each other, and you need to understand that there are a lot of difference between them. And if you own a property, you must be able to prove your ownership. You must be able to protect your property ownership rights. And if you are in occupation, you are in possession, you protect your possessory rights. And the exclusive possession and the peaceful enjoyment of your property, whether you are a tenant, whether you are a lessee or sub-lessee or even a sub-tenant. But once you have rights to be in a possession, you are no longer an illegal occupant.
You are not a trespasser. Otherwise, if you are not regularly occupying the place, you become a trespasser. You become an illegal occupant, and you don't have rights. So you need to understand this concept: ownership and property, ownership in property, and the possessory right in property is very important. I want to use the opportunity to encourage you, for those of you who have watched this video to the end of the presentation, and I also want to encourage you to watch some other videos that I've released related to property rights, so that you know more. If you are watching for the first time, I will encourage you to subscribe to the YouTube channel and click on the notification bell, and so that you get notification anytime we release a video. And also, I will advise you to share this video to anyone who you know that maybe be having a doubt whether is in possession, whether is the rightful owner, to prove and to understand. Stay tuned to this channel if you want to get enlightenment and these educative tips in property law practice directions. Thank you so much for watching, and bye for now.